Tathy over here is a painter, and I am too. So we've been talking about painting tonight. So I'm going to read you a little poem which is just about my memory, not of the best painting I ever made, but the most meaningful painting to me that I ever did. I lived with my ex-husband in Brunei. I gave up my career as a teacher to do it. And I sent out lots of art stuff, lots of painting things to Brunei, and they took 2 months to arrive, and I was so bored. So this is about the first painting I did when I got my sea freight. It's called Painting Again. I'm sitting on the equator. It's a grey, hot, damp, windy day. The reeds on the scarp behind the sea wall rattle in gusts of salt air. A burden of chipped hardwood rolls on lazy waves to the dark sand below the man-built concrete bank, where triumphantly I unfold my canvas stool, my flimsy easel, my little pans of paint, my sable brushes from the sea freight I waited for these many weeks and months. Soft in the spray-filled air, I lay the tints and greys on paper textured like the wall itself. The wall races from my feet to the horizon. A monstrous piece of flotsam, skeleton of some ancient tree, lies marooned. On my page, the wind itself is painting the enormous sky, moving pools of cloud and shade, cerulean and violet, revealing the stream of weather across the deserted shore. In Guildford, far away, long after, the painting will hang framed. It is the moment when the wind and I together gave this grim landscape life. My father-in-law will be impressed. That's Dymchurch, isn't it? We had a holiday there in 1963. And that's Here's a little poem I wrote last week. It's just a jokey poem. It's called Private View. Jonathan Buckingham Barrington Hugh invited the town to his private view. The bubbly was cold and the canopies too, and his agent was sure that after a few the punters would form an orderly queue keen to possess a Barrington Hugh. The mayor was there and his wife in blue, and critics from national art reviews, and over from stateside rivals flew to see and be seen at the private view of Jonathan Buckingham Barrington Hugh. Awesome! So next millennium, phew! What panache, what scale, how utterly new! Jonathan preened in the gallery loo as he combed his hair for the camera crew and shared with his friends a line or two. In the morning, the papers were full of the news. A remarkable tour de force, a breakthrough, a departure, the season's high point. But it's true, the frames were all empty, the pedestals too. The only exhibit was Barrington Hugh in the nude at a genuine private view. This is called The Food of Love. Remember the offerings we made, the feast spread on rumpled satin. Intrusive moonlight glittered on shining flesh, smelling of sea, glazed with salt and aromatic oils. Remember how, drunk on the champagne we sucked from the caves of each other's mouths, we chewed the oyster-hued flesh that crossed our hungry lips. Remember how each pro of tongue opened my shell till my kernel lay exposed in its prawn-pink lining. Remember how, with each taste, you accepted your growing passion, many promises to my responsive hand. And when the banquet ended, remember how you left me to do the washing up. Bastard! This is a month when I get a little bit serious towards the end of the month, because it's on the 31st of October my mother died, and her birthday was on the 3rd of November. So this poem is quite an old one. I wrote it while mourning for her. So it's called Staying Alive. When she was 35, my mother said, I shall be dead when I am 43. Like my mother before me. But when she was 45, with a new son on her knee, she was still alive. When she was 65, my mother had survived 4 births, a miscarriage, operable tumours, and the interminable boredom of middle age. She had marched with CND, learned ceramics and the internet, and she was still alive. When she was 69, my mother had kept alive 3 despairing daughters, a wandering son, tens of cats, scores of mice, wounded birds and rabbits, had nursed her 2 sisters to their cancerous deaths, and she was fine. When she was 75, living on cheese, scotch and cigarettes, not always in that order, a stroke convulsed my mother's brain. Forgetting her death wish, she struggled back again, walked, talked, bought junk on eBay, obsessively, still alive. When she was 79, the nurse said, "First ward on the right." Her pursed lips said it all, I thought. My mother would be fine. There are so many poor old women in here. The nurses patronise us. They call us dear. Last night I had to help that old lady over there. I rang and rang, but no one came. But I am in such pain, such pain. No, I was wrong. She wasn't fine. When she was 80 and a day, I saw my mother's body laid in a dim chapel. Her face not peaceful, as they say, but empty, defeated, unrecognisable. She is so beautiful, my father sobbed and howled like a stricken wolf every morning for a year, because he was still alive. Thank you. You may have heard of a poet, a 17th century poet called Christopher Smart, who wrote a lovely, very long poem to his cat, Geoffrey, called "To My Cat Geoffrey," and every line starts, for that he is, and it's about 100 lines long, and it's a lovely poem. Every detail of that cat's life is enumerated. This is to my lover, Donal. In the same vein. To my lover, Donal. For firstly, he maketh many quips, and is tireless in his merriment. For secondly, he never is weary of teasing, and his puns are legion. For thirdly, he utters haiku in the morning. For fourthly, he speaks poems in the afternoon. For fifthly, in the evening he speaks volumes. For sixthly, he is generous with his praise, his books, and his advice. For he distributes all of these liberally. For he wears odd socks and is unrepentant. For he loves fry-ups. For his creation of fry-ups, with a profusion of heat and oil. For his rendering of pans richly coated and black. For his gifts of cups of tea at any hour of day or night. For his voice, which is deep and sonorous when he is calm, and high and shrill if he is wrong. That's not true! For his hair, which is abundant and curled. For his hair is a source of wonderment to the young. For his hair is titled Robert Plant by the young. For he is not scornful except when others are proud. For he offers his chest as a pillow. For he offers his hands to warm his mistress' heart and feet. For he carries the history of his ancestors in his head and can and will divulge it. For he carries the history of his loves in his heart and can utter them in songs.